The year is 1991, and a rapidly expanding Delta Airlines is handed a gift. A gift in the form of an overseas hub in the German city of Frankfurt. This hub is extremely unusual and to this day is known as one of the most absurd airline strategies ever attempted. Enter in Delta Airlines hub in Frankfurt, Germany, with connections straight from the US on board a Lockheed TriStar to basically anywhere in the European continent.
Now you can fly Delta to Frankfurt, Germany, in the center of Europe, with easy connections to Paris, Zurich, Rome, Athens, and dozens of other cities. Fly Delta non-stop to Dallas-Fort Worth, then non-stop to Frankfurt. You can get round-trip boarding passes, plus complimentary cocktails and free movies in Tourist 2 through August 31st. Call Delta or your travel agent. Delta is ready when you are. That's the Delta spirit.
Welcome to this short historical video covering the unique aspects and story of Delta Airlines' German hub. My name is Cyrus, and I'm an aviation journalist fascinated with covering interesting aspects of the commercial aviation industry. So stay tuned as we dive into one of the most fascinating hubs of the past several decades. The legendary carrier of Pan Am declared bankruptcy in 1991. And while Delta was already financially linked to this international carrier, a new opportunity became immediately apparent. The relics of Pan Am became available for pennies on the dollar and included much of Pan Am's aircraft, routes, and slots at airports like Gatwick, JFK, and relevant for the purposes of this video, Frankfurt. Pan Am had already operated a substantial hub in the German city of Frankfurt and had been operating since soon after World War II, connecting Frankfurt and the US via other European cities. Thus, part of Frankfurt's transition from a military airfield to a major global commercial hub can be attributed to the rise of Pan Am. Pan Am's Frankfurt operation continued until their bankruptcy, after which Delta, as a new owner of much of Pan Am's operations, continued service. This service resulted in the existence of a large maintenance base in Frankfurt, primarily for the locally operated fleet of 727s. A quick glimpse at a 1995 Delta timetable reveals non-stop connections on these 727s to European cities like Athens, Budapest, Istanbul, Moscow, Vienna, and Warsaw. A few other connections, like ones to Swiss cities, were outsourced to codeshare partners. But for the most part, Delta maintained their own homegrown domestic European network. While this strategy was not new, it did become a unique element as the airline industry began progressing into the 1990s. This strategy enabled Delta to operate fewer non-stop European routes from singular US hubs, but instead allowed for a greater number of direct flights to Frankfurt. This meant that instead of operating a singular beginning point for passengers in the US, Delta operated a singular stopping point in Europe. Many passengers favored this model, with a stopover in Europe a more attractive proposition than one in the US. This allowed for a greater number of direct flights to Europe in total, with service from cities like DC, LA, Orlando, Atlanta, and even Cincinnati. While the early success of the hub was exciting, an overseas hub is just the type of a logistical nightmare it may seem to be. Delta struggled at times to justify the overseas hub when expanding a US-based transit location like in New York, for example, became increasingly attractive. And with Delta becoming closer with Air France and KLM, there came more overlaps that needed to be avoided when strategizing their domestic European itineraries. This resulted in a slow decrease of intra-European flights in the late 1990s, with the 727s sent back to the US for more lucrative domestic connections. Another big obstacle that Delta continued to deny, but was very much present, was the ever-growing competition from the German carrier Lufthansa. This reached a climax when fellow US competitor United signed an agreement with Lufthansa in 1993 to give the German airline unprecedented access to United's US feeder network, putting significant pressure on Delta's own Frankfurt operation. While this joint venture between United and Frankfurt began with a focus on Washington Dulles, it soon expanded in 1997 with the formation of the Star Alliance, which somewhat pointedly opened its headquarters in Frankfurt, of all places. This new alliance marked a point of no return for Delta's own Frankfurt operation, and 1997 was the final year that Delta flew its own 727s to and from the German Center of Aviation. I hope you've enjoyed this video thus far, and don't go anywhere because there's still one final chapter to cover. But before we go any further, I wanted to encourage you to consider subscribing to my channel. If you enjoy this type of in-depth aviation commentary and analysis, which I think you do since you're still watching, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Also, a like really helps a lot. Also, real quick, I've had a few people recently comment about the flight departure board that's right behind me. It's a cool product that I found online called the Flight Wall. It basically shows the flights around you in a geo-fenced area. I'm not sponsored by the company, but I think it's a cool product and they gave me a referral link. So if you're interested in the product, then go ahead and use the link in the description or pinned comment down below. Anyways, back to the video. Delta did pull out of Frankfurt in 1997, marking the end of a truly unique era in the airline's history. But this era began a new era that brought in one of the strongest stretches in the airline's history, which continues until today. With Star Alliance proving to be a formidable competitor, other airlines, including Delta and Air France, didn't want to be left behind. And as Delta had lost much of their intra-European feeder network, were hungry for a partnership that would give them back access to a growing European population. This was realized in 2000, when Delta and Air France co-founded SkyTeam alongside Aeromexico and Korean Air. This new partnership gave Delta an affordable way to reach the rest of Europe through flights directly into Paris, and for Air France, vice versa, but through New York or Atlanta. This operation was made only sweeter by the introduction of KLM and their impressive network through Amsterdam, which Delta immediately took advantage of. SkyTeam finally became a formidable competitor to the growing Star Alliance and allowed Delta to have an even better setup than they had previously had through Frankfurt. So, in essence, Delta traded a less efficient, personally run European feeder network for a much more expansive and more efficient alternative offered by Air France and KLM. While not as unique or even as impressive, airline partnerships became the new norm, helped in part by the final phase of the European airline liberalization, which allowed for the legal pathways necessary for airline alliances and overall European expansion. So, while Delta can't possibly boast a hub as interesting as their hub in Frankfurt back in the day, their exit from the city marked the introduction of the airline's golden era. This unique story is a reminder of how the commercial airline industry has shifted overall due to the changing legal landscape and effects of geopolitics. To think that the German reunification after World War II and Pan Am service from the 1950s could affect Delta fleet strategy in the 1990s can seem like a stretch. But the fact that these historical events are all tied together speaks volumes to the lasting effects of wars, alliances, and economic growth from all the chaos. So, what do you think? Is an overseas hub from a US airline even possible in today's market? Leave your observation in the comments down below. That being said, I do want to quickly let you know of some of the benefits of channel membership. If you're interested in further supporting my work, you can do so, and in return get perks like earlier access to videos, recognition, and more. Besides that, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.